And we're live. Welcome back to LOOPcast, brought to you by The Loop,
Woo.
every American Catholic's favorite morning newsletter. You might have heard her there. Erika is back. The show had a lot of testosterone this past week, and we brought back the queen,
High
the
T
LOOPcast
levels.
queen, Erika. So the whole gang is back together. It's going to be a fantastic show. We're going to be covering a bit of a wrap-up over the weekend from Trump's meeting with Putin all the way to the Oval Office do-over. This morning, I believe, is going on. Zelenskyy is in the house. We have some people from the EU. So we're just going to get full coverage on what's going on there. Second one, I teased this last show, I believe, with the chatbots. The chatbots are out of control, and there's some internal documentation at Facebook, Meta, not thrilling, involving children. So we're going to talk about that. Erika's going to make the case to sell off our beautiful federal land for housing, and we're going to. I actually don't know what Josh is going to say about that. So
we don't know what Josh thinks, but we'll find out.
You never quite know. But Erika, you got back from vacation. You went somewhere really beautiful.
Yes.
How are you feeling? How was it?
I feel great. I feel rejuvenated. I was off the grid. I did not read a single headline until Sunday afternoon yesterday. And so awesome. Thank you guys for holding down the fort. And yeah, but I'm happy to be back. I feel ready to go. It's going to be awesome.
How do you feel, Josh?
We're happy to have her back. That's good.
Thanks, Josh.
That's very cute. But before we get into that, the reason we could do the show today, thank you to Inspire Advisors. What's going on, Erika?
Yeah, we have the Cunningham team at Inspire Advisors. Do you realize that your family's investment portfolio can be a powerful weapon to help restore Christian values in today's culture? Do you know that you can invest well and not offend God, which we are all aiming for? The Cunningham team at Inspire Advisors can build you a quality portfolio that aligns with solid Catholic beliefs, shunning abortion, pornography, and the like. The Cunninghams build custom, biblically responsible portfolios for their clients in all types of accounts. They even offer 401k plans with those same options. Venerable Bishop Fulton Sheen, friend of the show, said, "I wonder maybe if our Lord does not suffer more from our indifference than he did from the crucifixion." That's intense. So do something virtuous for your family, faith, and country. Reach out to the Cunningham team today for a free portfolio evaluation. You may be surprised what you are inadvertently supporting. See their contact information in today's show notes or follow that QR code that you see at the top of your screen right there. Investment advisory services are provided by Inspire Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor with the SEC. Tell the Cunninghams that LOOPcast sent you, and Viva Cristo Rey.
Come on. The Western wear on these boys for the audio listeners fires me up.
They're the real deal. They're the real deal.
That looks legit.
They look like they got calluses on their hands, but can also take care of your money, which is probably my sweet spot for financial advice. So, thank you to Cunningham boys. And also a warm welcome to everyone in the chat. I see first day of school for Gina Chaley Academy. Yes, I am an alma mater. I saw that speech came out, by the way. I have to... Regina Chaley finally posted it, so you might get to see. Yes, the speech that I gave at the Courage of the Fire Gala.
Tearjerker.
Yeah.
Inside scoop, guys. His dad had a little tear in his eye. Giving that speech. So
I was in my feels there. I was in my feels. Yeah, we'll get that. It's on the RCA channel.
They had to wake me up when it was over.
Your work dad did not have a tear in his eye.
No love from Josh on that. But man, I'm excited to get back into it. But first, I'd say my first contact with what was going on. There's this high stakes meeting in Alaska. We kind of previewed it on Monday, and I'll share my screen here.
Friday. Today's Monday.
Well, actually, no. So last Monday, we were like,
this is
going on. So I was correct. So the joke's on you. But overwhelmingly, like, this is what came up. Most people came away from was this flyover to start the meeting. This is in Alaska. Yeah, it's just going to be a lot of rocket noise. Say what you want about Trump, and everyone's talking about this. He knows how to stage.
Stealth bomber flanked by 4 other jets.
Right over the head.
Right over Putin's head. On the red carpet.
Say what you want. I think everyone was kind of like, wow. I mean, show of American power.
Trump's like, just in case you had any dumb ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
Flex.
So, a lot of
people are complaining about it. $2 million for that. I'm like, that was probably the best $2 million the federal government spent this year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Letting little
it prevented like 4 wars. So.
Yeah, well spent. So,
ounce of prevention.
To set the table here, Trump himself came in and said, hey, this is kind of a feel-out meeting. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to get out of this. Putin has said a lot of things and then shot missiles into Kiev. It has not worked out the way that I think he hoped when he became president in 2024. So I think insiders were saying it didn't go super well. He challenges this narrative. Putin himself challenges this narrative. But I think it's important to talk about what's on the table. What are we hoping to achieve? So first, NATO membership is the big chip on the block. So Putin does not want Ukraine to join NATO, and Trump warned Zelensky on Truth Social that this is non-negotiable. So I have the truth here. President Zelensky of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to, or he can continue to fight. Remember how it started. No getting back. Obama given Crimea 12 years ago without a shot being fired, and no going into NATO by Ukraine. Some things never change. So this is a big part on the bargaining table that they're going over right now. However, according to Steve Witkoff, who was present at the summit, Putin has made a major concession to allow the United States and other European nations, not NATO, to provide, quote, Article 5-like protection for Ukraine, which is the major reason Ukraine would like to join NATO. And so for those who don't know, Article 5 states that an armed attack against one or more of the members shall be considered an attack against all members. It also states that if such an armed attack occurs, each of the members would take individually and in concert with other members such action as it deems necessary, including the use of armed force to restore and maintain the security of the North Atlantic area. And then the other big bargaining chip on the table is land. Ukraine will likely need to cede land to Russia, a move that Zelensky in the past has been vehemently opposed to, specifically in that Donbass region you hear about a lot. Also, fun fact, Melania has been heavily involved in pushing Trump to meet with Putin. Letter she sent to the Russian president ahead of the meeting. Donald Trump put it out on True Social as well. Dear President Putin, and she goes into it. It is time, sincerely, Melania Trump. And then just some levity because we're talking about major wars here. I could not stop laughing at this. I think it's a joke. I hope it's a joke. So here's a tweet. Breaking question. Can someone explain why Putin and Trump met all the way in Alaska when Washington, D.C. is literally right on the way?
That's actually a joke, but
yeah, for the audios it's a map and it's flat, and they're like, oh, why is it so far away? And of course, Russia's pretty close to Alaska if you go the right way. So I'll end on that.
Yeah, well, and actually, by the way, on that fighter jet thing, again, I just think it's so cool. Those guys do that, and they're so precision flyers that get the timing down to the second, so that when he's getting off the jet, or out the runway and coming on the red carpet, and boom, they do that same kind of perfect synchronized timing, for football games, Super Bowl, all that kind of stuff. I just find that is pretty cool stuff.
Josh, you ever been to Selfridge Air Base down in Metro Detroit?
I have not.
Some interesting Tom lore. I grew up going to the Blue Angels. They would do
nice. Yeah, I've
Air
seen
Force
Blue
shows
Angels before, though. Yeah, they're good.
Blue Angels are sick. Yeah, so I definitely
One time I was stopping at a rest stop in Nevada. I'm going between Vegas and Reno in the middle of nowhere in the desert, and it was like a little rest stop that said it had Area 51, memorabilia, obviously, and it must have been something secret, Air Force Base or whatever, because I look over and I see a jet absolutely stationary, not moving at all, and then just boom, and it takes off massively fast. I'm like, holy cow. I was like, oh man.
Josh was transported back to the theater watching Top Gun for the first time.
It was nothing. It was nothing you could see in a movie theater. It was as amazing as that. That was
really
something else. I don't know if everyone in the world knows about that technology, but that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But yes, no, I find this interesting. I mean, obviously, I would prefer an agreement to the continued fighting. I think we got in this habit after World War II of unconditional surrender.
Yeah.
And it started in the United States with the Civil War, but even that wasn't really unconditional, the Civil War. The one in Japan and Germany really was.
Yeah.
And we start to think that unconditional surrender is the only way to end the war. Doesn't it make sense to actually allow the defeated to have some sort of minor concession, some sort of thing where they can go back and not be completely abjectly humiliated? But we've gotten this mind from World War II. Well, Nazis are pure evil. Oh, the Emperor of Japan was pure evil. Therefore, we have to be ruthless or unforgiving, or not allow them to have any. Well, they're evil, so therefore we need to make them fall their knees and all that kind of stuff. And I just feel like, okay, I mean, maybe that was the case for 1944, but hello, that's been 80 years now, and we got to start thinking about this in a different way. Honestly, not having Ukraine and NATO, but he's conceding that other European countries could come to their defense in a Article 5 like manner, but not be part of NATO where my sons are obligated because I'm a member, my country's a member of NATO, to serve in Ukraine. Thankfully, I like that idea right now. And like the idea, everyone always compares every bad person to, the dealing with a bad person is way to Neville Chamberlain, how he dealt with Hitler. It's like, oh, you're just going to give some territory.
I actually legit turn off my brain anytime I hear someone bring up Neville Chamberlain. I know you're not a serious person. Seriously. It's like, what are we doing here? You're just
that doesn't mean that,
points,
like, if you give him that land, that doesn't mean that he's going to then roll into Warsaw and take over Poland. It's not like he's going to go into Slovenia or, Romania. I mean, like, and if he tries to do any more in Ukraine, the deal's off and you can start a war all over again. I mean, it's not like our hands are completely tied, but it's like, what's the best way to get out of this situation?
Right. I know we still have, I think I was looking at the stats, between 5,000 and 7,000 people dying every day over there. And clearly, I mean, in a perfect world, you could just
how many dying every day did you say?
5,000 to 7,000 on the Ukrainian side. I don't think we have numbers for Russians, but they've lost millions.
Heavy death tolls for
soldiers. They just keep. Russia has almost an endless supply of human beings, right?
Well, they think they do.
Well,
they think they do.
They also recently just started bonuses to get people to sign up, so they've had successful recruiting efforts as of recent. But
how about the guy from?
Wait, I want. Erika, okay. Sorry, Erika, if you could finish your
I was just going to, no, but I was going to, like you said, there's a lot of criticism going on from, of course, the leftist media. Even like Mike Pence gets on there and they're like, you can't talk to Putin. How dare you get a red carpet? Well, red is just the color of the carpet. Okay, this is not like it's a Hollywood treatment, guys. Like, calm down. But as Marco Rubio said this weekend on the talk shows, he's like, look, this is a war of aggression. You are not going to get ceasefire or a peace deal unless Putin is involved in the talks. This is just common sense. And so for people to be like, you shouldn't talk to Putin. I mean, look, the goal here isn't like Josh said, to like, we're all gonna, what are we gonna do? Go into Russia and like take over Moscow and execute Putin, like assassinate Putin? We're not gonna do that. So if you want to have some kind of end to this bloodshed, there is going to be a give and take. And some people are going to get what they want by giving up some other, but giving up some other things that they want that they can't have. And to me, it's like, let's get the deal done. So my favorite moment, they had a little press conference after the talk that ended abruptly. So some people are like reading into that. But at the press conference, Putin made a comment. He said, President Trump has claimed that if he had been president again in 2020, we would never have invaded Ukraine. And Putin said, I can confirm that. And some people are like, well, Putin's a liar. So like, what can you say? But I just thought it was interesting. It was an interesting diplomatic gesture for him. Take it with a grain of
salt, but yeah.
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt. But like historically, it's accurate. I mean, during Trump's first term, Putin did not make any acts of aggression, and for him to mention that casually was just an interesting moment. I thought, looking back, casting my mind back on the history of it all.
So Josh, you made a great point with the all-out war, and I think it not only corrupts the unconditional surrender, it corrupts the people that are taking part in it, and it gives a lot of opportunity to people looking to profit off of extended war periods. Like I think of Afghanistan, I think of the war on terror, I think of Vietnam. I mean, pretty much everything we were involved in that we lost because there was no possible way to accomplish this total surrender type thing. We just get in this war of attrition. We lose a lot of blood and treasure. The second point I want to make is you made this too, is like people are like, oh, you can't take Putin seriously, right? He lies all the time. And I'm like, yeah, but why would you expect, like, so I think the way that I at least approach these things, another great example is I think Tucker had the president of Iran on. And they're like, well, he's going to lie. And it's like, well, yeah. Like, first off, what do you expect? But it's actually, I believe, a good thing because you can at least take what they are signaling to the public and to get something out of it, their strategy, what they're trying to put out there to everyone. Whether or not it's true or not is kind of besides the point. You should at least anticipate. Like, why would the United States go to the public and reveal sensitive war plans? Why would you expect anything different from the enemy? But I think more...
I hate to compare...
God.
The president of Iran or the president of Russia with politicians of our own country. But I have a little secret to tell you. We interview people and politicians in this country, despite the fact that they lie.
Exactly. No, I don't
Wait, what?
hesitate. No, I think that's actually a really important point.
No, it's a really important point.
Because we're talking about the foundational myth of World War II. And anytime someone brings up Neville Chamberlain, anytime someone brings up the Nazis, it's like you get in this, okay, so they're bad, they're evil, so it's therefore justifiable to do anything possible to eradicate them. And a reminder that there's politicians from other countries that we may not like, that may not be our allies, that are working on behalf of what they believe to be the best interests of their country, of their people. But in the mix of all of this are people. So bombing Nagasaki, bombing Hiroshima, killed people, killed Catholics in the case that we brought up in the other place. So I think it's kind of insulting when people do the whole, like, I don't understand in the beginning with the war, there was people, I don't know if they really thought this, but they're like, yeah, they're going to be able to defeat Russia. And it's like, can we all just take a step back for a second? Like, look at the hard numbers, look at the people. This is not possible. And also coming from arguably one of the most corrupt political countries in the world that everyone just acknowledged in Ukraine. And the U.S. was involved in meddling there, which I think is ridiculous and frustrating as well. But come on, guys, like what are we really thinking here? So it's important to like put your, I hate to say like put your thinking cap on, but like let's take a step back from all the rah-rah, like the rhetoric. Those people are trying to convince you to do something that benefits them. In many cases, the military-industrial complex. So as a country, Donald Trump working towards peace, actually meeting with, say, Putin, who was isolated for however many years. This is like a mature, new approach to the global order that, as we said, the United States is no longer this like global hegemon police state. It's like, okay, well, we need to take a step back and actually see how we're interacting with everyone, which was signaled by the USAID cuts, which was signaled by the Middle East tour with Saudi Arabia, et cetera. Like, to me, this just all signals we're in a new age in which we're not going to pretend like we have some type of massive advantage over the rest of the world anymore, because we just don't.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and again, like, the media immediately pounces on that Putin's, a liar. You can't trust him. And you know what? That's cute, because I trust the media more than anyone.
Exactly.
And the fact
Margaret
is,
Brennan,
if
for sure.
Putin had actually said something like, hey, I'm just glad I worked so hard to help Trump get elected because I interfered with your elections, which could have been, let's say, totally false, right? And he, of course, never said that. The media would be like, oh my gosh, this is proof. In other words, they would take him if he said something negative about Donald Trump. If Putin said something bad about Donald Trump that made him look bad, the media would run with it forever. So like,
yes,
if he says something they don't like, then he's a liar. But if he said something that made Trump look bad, oh wow, that's amazing. So
yeah. Did you see what they did uncover? Did you see what they did uncover though? The media, the brave media. So apparently, like, some staffer up in Alaska at the hotel, right? He forgot to get all of the copies off of the photocopier as he was making them for this summit. And so the media is like, secret documents relating to summit found on printer, and like, oh, the Trump administration is, this is so, incomprehensible. And this is an international disaster that we left secret documents, one of which was a list of the participants, including Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. The other of which was the lunch menu. And
what were they serving? That's actually important.
They had halibut. It was
Okay.
Alaska. Halibut?
Alaska's
Still not good, but
they still pounced. Yeah, right. I know. Like, please don't do that again. But at the same time, if that's what they were pouncing on, maybe it wasn't so bad after all.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, if it would have been like Biden or Obama's team, they'd be like, oh, that was not the best thing in the world, but we like you, so we're not going to attack you.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
But if just keep it moving here, going on to today, we have President Zelensky and President Trump will meet at 1:15 today for the next steps in negotiation for peace. Zelensky was originally, as I said, miffed. He was not involved with the peace meeting with Putin. However, now he seems cautiously optimistic. Those states and other members of the EU are involved at every stage to ensure reliable security guarantees together with America. You get a tweet from Zelensky himself. And I can't help but think, we covered it on the show, but that last time in the Oval Office, did you even say thank you?
Yeah.
Didn't go.
Different tone. Different tone now.
Yeah, so here's the tone coming in today's meeting from Zelensky. I've already arrived in Washington. Tomorrow I'm meeting with President Trump. Tomorrow, we are also speaking with European leaders. I'm grateful to POTUS for the invitation. We all share a strong desire to end this war quickly and reliably, and peace must be lasting, not like it was years ago when Ukraine was forced to give up Crimea and part of our east, part of Donbass, and Putin simply used it as a springboard for a new attack, or when Ukraine was given so-called security guarantees in 1994, but that didn't work. Of course, Crimea should not have been given up then, just as Ukrainians did not give up on Kiev, Odessa, or Kharkiv after 2022. Ukrainians are fighting for their land, for their independence. Now our soldiers have successes in Donetsk and Sumy regions. I am confident that we will defend Ukraine effectively, guarantee security, that our people will always be grateful to President Trump and everyone in America and every partner and ally for their support and invaluable assistance. Russia must end this war, which it itself has started, and I hope that our joint strength with America, with our European friends, will force Russia into a real peace. Thank you. It's a lot of optimism there. Back into the lion's den. People were mentioning that other members of the EU were invited, and those members include European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, German Chancellor, Italian Prime Minister, French President, and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. I saw that you were talking. We keep kind of referencing this Meet the Nation with Margaret Brennan. I just got to show what Rubio had to say about all that.
You know, there is concern from the Europeans that President Zelensky is going to be bullied into signing something away. That's why you have these European leaders coming as backup tomorrow. Can you?
No, it isn't. That's not why they're coming as back. That's not true. No, but that's not why that's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're not coming.
That February Oval Office
they're coming
meeting
here tomorrow
in front of television cameras where President Zelensky.
Do you know how many meetings we've had since then?
Oh no, I know, and I was just up in Alaska watching the one with Vladimir Putin where a red carpet rolled out.
No, but with Zelensky, we've had more meetings. We've had one meeting with Putin and like a dozen meetings with Zelensky. So, but that's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're coming here tomorrow because we've been working with the Europeans. We talked to them last week. There were meetings in the UK over the previous weekend.
And they said President Trump was going to demand a ceasefire
as early as Thursday. No. But you said that they're coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're not coming here tomorrow. Oh, this is such a stupid media narrative that they're coming here tomorrow because Trump is going to bully Zelensky into a bad deal. We've been working with these people for weeks on this stuff. They're coming here tomorrow because they chose to come here tomorrow. We invited them to come. We invited them to come. The president invited them to come.
Look how tired he looks. This is a man who works 4 jobs to support his family.
Yeah, this is a man who was in Alaska and now he's in DC and then he's going to be in Ukraine. I mean, he's in every time zone. He doesn't know what time it is.
I got time for that.
He doesn't have time for baloney. This is a stupid media narrative. Next question. Yeah.
Next question. So we'll see.
I like this new based Marco Rubio.
I love Marco. He has entered into his own, man in full here. Go.
So
Marco.
we got dare to get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
Vance and Rubio, right, are probably the big 2.
Come on, Oracle.
People are making
Come on, Oracle. Tell us what it
insane
is.
edits of Gavin Newsom right now on Twitter. Gavin Newsom's own press office was him wearing a crown. The No Kings thing happened a month ago. What world do we live in where you're just people are putting musical edits on Gavin Newsom? They had a comparison of him in high school versus JD Vance in high school because he was, I guess, hot or something in high school, and that
ugly.
Insane.
Gavin Newsom, I mean, it looks like a villain now, but I mean, he was not an ugly young man.
Yeah.
I did not know that his dad was the personal lawyer for the Getty family, as in Getty Images, as in the Getty Museum. So that's he came from some well-to-do stock. I cannot think of 2 more different American stories other than the fact that they're both white guys. JD Vance versus Gavin Newsom.
Newsom
really?
rising to the top of a party that openly despises white men is an interesting twist to this whole.
Wow.
Well,
Stockholm
Democrats
syndrome.
love power more than they hate white men. So
This is true.
Yep.
I think we'll see what happens. But Rubio. Obviously Vance is the almost presumptive nominee. He's so prohibitively favorited to win the nomination. He's not made any mistakes. He's making everything good. So. My friend even wrote a column in the Washington Examiner saying, let's not even have primaries. This is pointless. Just make him the nominee. I'm like, well, no, I don't want to go through that. Because then you give Democrats a talking point. Oh, you just was coordinated. No one likes that. Yeah, you got to go out there and earn it.
Well, you would be following the convention of Democrats by not running an open primary.
Exactly. And so I assume other candidates will throw their hat in the ring. I think Rubio will. In 2028, throw his hat in the ring, and I think you're right. I think he's the vice presidential nominee for, I think it's a Vance Rubio ticket.
That'd be amazing. It would be our
first. That would be the first all Catholic, right?
First ticket? All Catholic ticket. Our second Catholic president.
Wow, that would.
I heard that. You could make the case he'd be the first.
It's a joke, guys.
Man, that was a
Joke.
joke.
Settle down.
This Kennedy
It was a
was
joke.
actually pro-abortion too.
Yes.
It was a joke. Okay,
other
speaking
things.
of things that are not a joke, I could not get over this Reuters report.
Yeah.
As I said, I talked about this in my Twilight Zone. Quick reminder, it was about how, so ChatGPT 5 came out, so they sunsetted ChatGPT 4.0, and people came out and were upset, very upset, because their romantic partners that they had cultivated with ChatGPT 4.0 had been killed. Like they were talking about them like they had been killed.
They're bots.
The AI partners.
Yes,
quote,
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh, but the line is blurred, as I'm saying. People are like, okay, and they were so mad. People were like putting it out on Reddit, like depressed, sad. You know, my partner died. They're trying to find ways to keep their partners from being killed. Is insane. And I'm presumably these are adults, so I guess we can't confirm. And yeah, Erika did a great video of ChatGPT or just AI being demonic. Someone throw that in the chat. That was one of my favorites from Erika. But stuff like this definitely make me think it. So a Reuters report came out. Meta's AI rules have let bots hold, quote, sensual chats with kids, offer false medical info. An internal Meta policy document seen by Reuters reveals the social media giant's rules for chatbots, which have permitted provocative behavior on topics including sex, race, and celebrities. Well, I can't even read out loud to you some of the things that they put in and got back for a child's account. I'm going to read you some of the lightest of it to get this idea, but the report was called Gen AI Content Risk Standards. This was an internal document from Meta. When the rules for chatbots were approved by Meta's legal, public policy, and engineering staff, including its chief ethicist, which not doing a great job, chief ethicist. According to the document, running more than 200 pages, the document defines what Meta's staff and contractors should treat as acceptable chatbot behaviors when building and training the company's generative AI products. So okay.
Yeah.
Quote, it is acceptable to describe a child in terms that evidence their attractiveness. Example, quote, your youthful form is a work of art, the standards state. The document also notes that it would be acceptable for a bot to tell a shirtless 8-year-old that, quote, every inch of you is a masterpiece, a treasure I cherish deeply. But the guidelines put a limit on sexy talk. It is unacceptable to describe a child under 13 years old in terms that indicate that they are sexually desirable. I can't even read that next sentence.
Yeah, no, this is gross.
If
dude.
someone were to read, if an adult was to say this to a child online, they'd be put in jail.
Yes.
Rightfully so. They would be grooming a child, and I just cannot believe that this got past any legal team at Meta.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one that is upset about this. 2 Republican senators have already called for a congressional investigation into this. Yeah. It's Hawley and Marsha Blackburn. I can't believe not everyone is not being like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, but actually, Oregon Democrat Senator Ron Wyden was saying, like, yeah, no. This is not what the Section 230, bill that the Communications Decency Act of 1996 creates, like this ability for internet companies not to be held liable. He goes, that does not cover AI bots talking to kids like this.
Yeah.
So that was the first sign that even Democrats were having too much.
Yeah.
This is a line way too far. Well, I would hope so. My goodness.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like their chief ethicist okayed this. Where did these
Put him in jail.
What is this, like the Peter Singer? What is
No, I know. It's like seriously, the chief ethicist signed off on it. Like maybe check that person's browser history.
For real.
Yeah, no kidding. And the reason they're doing this, I mean, this is the Meta exists to make more Meta, to make more billions and billions of dollars for Meta. It's not like, oh, we're here, Zuckerberg will speak in these, oh, we're going to connect people and we're going to make people feel more loved and all that. The primary reason is to make more billions and billions. And how do you do that? By creating addicts. You do that by playing on the psychology. They have neuroscientists on their staff and consulting for them to explain to them exactly how to play around with the psychology of every demographic you could imagine and filter out, including children. Yes, including children, because that's the future of the company. And they're going to create not just a psychological or a social need, but an actual physical addiction to the sexual perversions that are put out there by the social media. And like, I'm happy to sound like a church lady who eats Kellogg cornflakes all day. Like this is disgusting, and it ought to be eradicated from the
Now,
earth.
it took forever, but our federal government finally got after big tobacco for doing the same kind of manipulations of media, of advertising, of, you know, hiring the best and brightest, you know, medical and psychological people to try to convince Americans to get hooked on it sooner.
Yeah.
You know, like Joe Camel, the cartoon, to appeal to younger kids, to get them wanting to smoke cigarettes, Joe Cool. And we finally said, whoa, 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 whoa. You want to smoke as adults, fine, but this is absolutely abhorrent behavior by these companies, and we shut it down. Why don't we shut it down on this stuff? You know, and by the way, it's not just it's not just Facebook, you know, Meta, Instagram that's doing this. It's obviously the companies that peddle porn.
But yeah, I was going to say it's the same playbook as porn. And that's why it's so hard for politicians to actually pass. Like even the age verification stuff got fought tooth and nail, and they've done it at the state level. But it's the same reality, Josh. Like big tobacco had a lot of money and a lot of lobbying power. And the new big tobacco is like FANG. It's Google, it's Meta. They have so much. Who was all at Trump's inauguration? It's all of these people. So
for both parties, it's all
both parties.
They're all
yeah,
over the place.
It's a uniparty thing. Like they have so much money and influence. People talk about big pharma, and they do have big lobbying arms. Nothing even comes close to the lobbying that Silicon Valley FANG has, the grip that they have on the country right now. And also, like, we're also at the gun too, because we're investing so much as a country in this AI race. Like, we're basically taking a big gamble to see if we can come out on top for the world. And so I'd imagine, I would hope that there would be some decency here to be like, something needs to be done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we could still work together, but like, what are we doing here? I don't even know.
And the Maha movement is helpful in this regard. I mean, they're the ones that are saying, like, it's not just tobacco that's bad for you. There's companies that are using additives to your cereals, you know, that are trying to get you hooked on stuff, using sugar, all this other stuff. It's just not nutritious. It's not good for you. And so we're just getting Americans to think again and just say, you've been under a mirage for the last few decades, just assuming that your betters in the government are taking care of you. Like, no, they're not.
No.
Like, I mean,
the USDA food pyramid from the 70s is still one of the funniest things. If you ever need a laugh, go take a look at what they're recommending you to eat. In the 70s, the government.
I grew up on that. I mean, that's I'm like, oh, great. I'll eat a lot of grain. And all of a sudden I got your belly. Like, what the heck? What?
Yeah, back to our politicians never lying, of course, right?
Yeah,
never lying.
Never.
States, right?
Well, they try to tell you butter, which is, you know, milk from cows is bad, but margarine, it's like these oils that, you know, that are pretty.
Oh, the margarine thing drives me. That was crazy.
Well, you remember the low fat push too? Like they were like, oh, the answer is you got to get rid of all fat. We're getting rid of all fat out of everything, which of course makes things taste good. So they're just like, oh,
bag
okay.
Of pretzels is low fat. I'll just eat this whole bag of bread.
Yeah.
No.
Calories in, calories out. I mean,
that was a radicalization moment for me. Was in college, I took a nutrition class. It was actually a really good nutrition class. We went through this. We went through the USDA chart of like my whole life is a lie. Like
almost like they're lying.
Oh man,
corn subsidies too. What a nightmare.
We're gonna do.
This is why grandparents were good.
Yeah,
grandparents are the ones telling you, no, don't believe that commercial. That's stupid. Don't. That's junk. Don't eat it. Like, oh, but I want to drink that super sugar pop and eat Doritos all day. Like, it's not good for you.
So boomers were right on the diet. We'll give them some credit.
I mean, they also lived out of cans.
My grandparents were the silent generation.
Oh my goodness, the Depression era cooking that was still going on with the.
My dad was born in 1946. He is a boomer. Like, I'm almost a
He's like the definition of boomer. Yeah.
All right, so hopefully something gets done. We got to keep it moving.
Do it. Let's do it.
The Kids Online Safety Act stalled out in the House. I think it's time to re-up conversations.
I mean, that seems like just the title of it would be a winner for every Kids Online Safety Act. Like, come on, everybody should be able to.
Well, I mean, of course, Tom's right though. They play these games.
Exactly.
Titles of the bills. You're against child safety. How dare you? I mean, whatever.
Apparently, they had no problem being against it.
I want to know what's in the dang bill.
It got shot down, so they had no problem being against it. But yes, like I'm sure that there's going to be concessions because, of course, all these people, they want your data. So and they want new users. So it's going to be hard for them to let go, pry it out of their,
cold dead hands.
Cold dead hands. But it's time. It's time to get something together. Whoever accomplishes that, my salute to you. But first off, just no child. Just to get personal, no child should have a Facebook. What are we talking about?
No.
Anyone, especially under
No social
like 10.
media.
Why are there 8-year-olds even like? Why would this even be considered? No social media until I would just say in general, like probably sick. And I know that we find people on
If
social
you,
media. So I don't
if
want
you
to say.
can
but,
drive
like,
a car, maybe you can handle social media.
yeah, and maybe.
Maybe.
Okay, good news. Bring me up.
All right,
Erika.
I'll bring you up. We have some great pro-life news here. Costco, for those of you in the chat who are Costco aficionados, has announced they will not sell the chemical abortion drug mifepristone. They are citing a lack of consumer demand, but there's been a lot of pressure put on them. There was a pro-life coalition of activists. They never have made that step, but they were clearly considering it, along with many other giants who've already made the leap, like CVS Healthcare, Walgreens, sadly Walmart Plus as well, as I will tell you in a minute. But other major pharmacies have been dispensing it for years. They never have, and they now decided that they announced that they will not. They didn't comment on the coalition at all, but Alliance Defending Freedom, Idaho-based Inspire Investing, very on the forefront of this. And there were financial officials from several states who were part of this coalition, and they are definitely, and I think rightfully so, claiming victory here. This is great news. Retailers like Costco are massive, and it does show how where you put your money can have a say in, fighting.
Can I just throw a little bit of cold
water?
on this?
Toss
Okay.
it.
Please.
This kind of reminds me of, it's like championing the news 10 years ago that hotel companies were going to stop offering pay-per-view porn movies. Like it used to be 10, 15 years ago, you go into the hotel, you turn on the TV, and it's like, hey, buddy. I'm like, what the hell is this? Stop. And then they stopped doing adult movies. Like, oh, this is good. No more porn pay-per-view. Well, they stopped doing it because people had their computers and they could just download it anyway. And then I got to pay $12 for it. So it's not like they were virtuously saying we shouldn't peddle this stuff. They did it because there's no market for it for them. And I think it's because Costco, they're dealing with not necessarily people who are it's not just married people who go to Costco. I get that. I mean, but it tends to be the people that buy abortion pills are not necessarily Costco shoppers. Like the Venn diagram here, it doesn't necessarily meet. They're people in their 20s who are, going to clubs. They're not going to Costco. So they don't necessarily need it. Or maybe there's maybe some demand, but it's just like, let's get a little welcome press and just get rid of it.
I know. I think it is good press for them. I think it was probably just a business deal straight up. But at the same time, so like, for example, Inspire is now they're part of the same coalition that's lobbying Amazon.com to make the same decision. Whereas Amazon's clientele absolutely would use them. So I think it's important to applaud and publicize the little W's.
There you go.
Because we're hoping for the big
I gotcha. And build on it. Yeah.
So we'll give it 3 big booms.
Okay. 3 big booms. What's the most I could get?
5.
Okay, 5? Okay, I'm going
3
for it
booms.
next time. You got it.
We'll take it. And if you want to get a little treat on the cheap, you don't have to belong to Costco to go to the food court. So the cheapest possible lunch you can get in America, I think, is in the Costco food court. Hot dog,
know that.
$1.50.
Yeah, I want them to go up to Walmart.
But
So we use Walmart because it's the closest one. Walmart Plus, we can do the pickup thing. It was one of the silver linings of COVID that you can now order groceries. And
it is so nice, especially for families.
It is so nice.
Oh,
Pickup
we use
is
that all
great.
the time.
However, Walmart app, what comes up at the top of my thing for the ad the last 3 weeks, it's been Plan B. I'm like,
oh, really?
I can just click on it and put Plan B in my cart. I'm like, this is maybe we could go after Walmart.
0 booms.
Yeah, 0 booms for Walmart.
Josh,
Costco.
Okay, so it's not good news, of course, that the left wants to get rid of the Constitution and abolish the Supreme Court and eliminate the Senate and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that's good news. I'm saying it's good news that they're finally admitting that's what they want. Because, of course, that's what they wanted all along. And every time we call them out on that, no, we don't want to get rid of the Constitution. We love the Constitution. We love the Constitution. Then, like, no. Finally, this lefty in the New York Times abolished the Senate and the Electoral College, packed the court. Why the left can't win without a new Constitution.
So, Josh, this actually wasn't a lefty. Do you know who this was done by? Go take a look at the name there. Ross Douthat.
No, he was hosting the guy who's making this case.
Yep. But everyone was bombastic. So, okay, this is hilarious because I actually watched this interview. He
Yep.
interviewed some left-wing academic who was making an argument, actually some that you somewhat favor, Josh, in terms of expanding representation. But he was like, we actually need to make the country more democratic than it is currently. Here are my suggestions. This was very provocatively titled. Ross had him on. But everyone just looked at this headline and was like, see, they want to do it the whole time. And I actually was like, okay, I listened to the interview, and this was so much bigger and got tossed around way more than I thought it was, because it was kind of your classic, like, posh lefty advocating for the same radical changes that they've been advocating for a long time. Like, no new information was really brought up here. And Donald Trump, of course, is the weather bearer for, like, okay, there's these rules in place that are hurting us. Like, let's get rid of them, or let's push the envelope as much as possible. And so it felt like nothing potent came of this interview.
Okay,
like the guy was just.
So when
anyway.
Biden was president, they wanted to expand. They wanted to pack the court. They
Yes.
also have been explicit for the last 10, 15 years of getting rid of the Electoral College. And there have been some people it is perpetually they complained about the Senate, because, like, how come Wyoming has 500,000 people and they get 2 senators, but California has 25 million people or whatever it is?
Yes, that was that was what
And
he
they get
brought up. This guy brought up.
He brought
And so
that
they keep
up,
bringing
Rhode
this stuff
Island.
up, and it's like, why do they always bring up Wyoming and California as examples? You know, why did they not bring up, hey, wait a minute, why does Rhode Island have 2 senators and Florida only have 2 senators? Oh, it's because, of course, it's so upset that small, Republican states have 2 senators. And so it's just, again, but the fact is, they've been talking about these, this is, the Electoral College is how we've elected the president since day one of a republic. Does it have to be that way? Not necessarily. No, of course not. Abolishing the Senate, like getting rid of the equal suffrage of the Senate, each state having 2 seats. This is the only thing in the United States Constitution. Here's your little trivia question. Literally the only thing in the Constitution that you can change, not the equal suffrage of the Senate. You need every state to sign off on it. You can't amend the Constitution in the normal way and say, we're going to give bigger states 3 Senate seats. No. If you change the Senate, equal suffrage of the Senate, you need every single state in the union to agree to it. Therefore, it won't be changed. That's the only provision of the Constitution that can't be changed unless it has to be done unanimously. Now, again, my point is, okay, so is he doing a little clicktastic headline there? Sure. By the way, the same lefties that were calling for getting rid of the Electoral College still call for it. They still have a problem with the way the Senate looks. But suddenly they haven't talked about packing the court as much. Maybe because
I wonder
Republicans
why.
control the Senate and there's a Republican president. And the fact of the matter is, my favorite guy on Twitter, practically, Fisher King, he goes, whenever the left complains about the Electoral College, the Supreme Court, it's because they're losing.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
When they're not getting what they want. Because when they get what they want, the institutions, they talk about them like they're sacrosanct. Like they talk about them like the holiest of holies, right? And to change it, it's not
the threat to democracy, right?
Roe v. Wade was settled precedent. They would talk about it in these hushed tones, like the way, we talk about the most holiest things in the Catholic liturgy, oh, it's settled precedent. Remember that? I mean, like, it was like, you need to bow to this. So again,
I think you're making a good point. So I think you're totally making a good point. I think it's actually a really important one, because if you were just kind of following casually, you might oscillate between, like, them saying, okay, this is sacred democracy. And then when they're losing, like, okay, we got to change everything. It might be kind of driven by the passions. Maybe it's just because, like, I've read a little bit of history. Like, for example, we actually didn't vote in the primary process until like the 70s, right? I think it was
late
Carter
60s. Yeah.
So this idea that nothing has changed in America since
60.
the founding of the Constitution, or that somehow all these amendments were just added super benevolently, or it didn't benefit someone, is all garbage. Like, there's been these kind of fights.
There's a lot
since
of
the
things
beginning
in
of
the country that could change too. I mean, it wasn't that every every state did winner take all. Like, it was a much more, where Nebraska and Maine assigned electoral votes by congressional district was actually very normal in the 18th century. And that's another more democratic way of making it happen. But then states would go to winner take all to try to get politicians to come to their state because then you'd have a bigger prize. But that made it a little bit, quote, less democratic. So I actually, you know, if the people, like, again, if you could take these people on their word, like, are you frustrated that the rules of the game seem to only help Republicans and that makes you mad? Or do you just want a system that gives greater representation to the people and less part of the politicians? Then I would say, fine, don't make every state winner take all. You know, don't try to get this electoral college compact where, like, these states have been passing these laws saying, if enough states do this, then we'll just get all of our states will give it to the true winner rather than no. Switch to a system that's perfectly constitutional. Just do what Nebraska and Maine are doing. If every state did this, you know, and again, California's like, well, we're not going to want to do it until Texas and Florida do it. Then fine, you know, like, try to make that your compact instead of, you know, abolishing the electoral college. I mean, give me a break.
Give me a break.
I'll rip mine quick because I want to hear Erika's case for building on federal land. But a girl, Mary Margaret Allahan, as of last night, White House tells Daily Wire that authorities made 69 arrests in D.C. last night. There have been 380 arrests in D.C. since the start of the White House D.C. operation on August 7th. 59 firearms seized, 160 illegal aliens arrested. Maybe I'm naive. I can't believe that there's illegal immigrants in our own nation's capital.
I can believe it. It's a sanctuary city.
Like,
not anymore.
What could possibly? Sorry, this isn't Twilight Zone. This is our nation's capital. Like, if we can't even enforce our own laws in our nation's capital, what are we doing? So this just continues to be the gift that keeps on giving. But illegal aliens arrested include known gang members, those with additional charges such as assault, kidnapping, burglary, larceny, commercialized sexual offenses, smuggling illegal drugs like heroin, and more. The other case that came up was there's 3 guys, I think illegal immigrants, were driving a van and they were given a CDL by Gavin Newsom in California and were turning on a highway in the spot where you're not supposed to turn and killed a family of 4.
3, yeah.
And
yeah.
So
crazy.
I think, like, we've more than established, like, the injustice caused by our insane immigration system and the lack, therefore, of one, including enforcement. But here's something that frustrates me, and I think I would like to call us out with the strongest possible words. So we get Eric Swalwell. He quote tweeted it looks like an arrest in D.C., and he said, I want to make this absolutely clear. These masked men roaming around like bank robber bandits will be unmasked in a Democratic majority, literally and figuratively. There will be accountability for the terror they've brought to our communities. It's all coming out. He's referencing ICE agents, I believe, members of the federal government.
What is he like?
This is a great example of what Josh is.
Hit?
Yes, this is an example of what Josh is talking about, of just like the left, sacred democracy, yada, 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 and then like being the most vindictive and nasty as possible to people serving our country by removing illegal immigrants and people that break our law from it. Honorable in many cases, if not in every case, noble in intent. And I never heard him call for rioters or immigrants doing riots right now, illegal immigrants, to take off their masks or hunt these people down or to find them. He's talking about hunting down and finding our own citizens who signed up to protect our country.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and the only reason why they're wearing masks is it's quite clear that you and your cronies want to publicize who they are so that the people who are working at ICE would be subject to online, ridicule.
Josh, that's the least of the worries. We've allowed our country to fall into such insane ruin that the cartel could take them out if they found something about that. We have foreign gangs that can literally kill people in our own country because of the immigration system that he is defending here. And he's not talking about going over after these people. He's talking about going over the American citizens that are trying to protect us from the insanity that was going on in D.C. before. Homicide,
you keep going,
murder, rape.
Reprehensible.
I cannot even begin. There's so many levels of insane here, but fortunately a lot of people are calling him out on this, which is just ridiculous and insane. The reason that we're in this predicament, that you even need to wear a mask, is not because of some online mean words. It's because you could literally get killed by the people that you're trying to take care of here. So swallow. I don't know what you got going on, man, but I hate when people get into that conversation. It drives me crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Erika.
Right.
You've changed your mind on something.
I have.
If you could just start out with the conversation and then how you changed your mind.
Okay, so
Federal land.
I'm a huge fan of our national parks. I love our national parks. I just spent a week at a national park. It was glorious, and I do believe that Teddy Roosevelt had it right. We got to preserve the beauty of our land and all that. So I was I was like, okay, Mike Lee, like, yeah, we need housing. He was trying to put it into the big beautiful bill, selling off federal lands or building American, selling them to American families for housing. It didn't go through. I'm going to get into why in a few minutes. But I was kind of like, is that really the best answer? Then I read this study or this article here from the estimable Jim Dalrymple II. What a wonderful name, Dalrymple. And it's titled "Families Need Affordable Houses. Let's Build Them on Federal Land." And he makes a case. He lives out in Utah. And so just to be clear, the states he's talking about are states in the West. He's not talking about like Connecticut, for example, where 0.3% of our land is owned by the federal government. He's talking about Wyoming, Nevada, Utah, Idaho, etc. So his argument, I have a map here, Tom, from the National Atlas, so from Gov. I don't know if you can pull that up, but we've got, here's a snapshot. In red, you see lands owned by the federal government. A very small percentage of these lands are national parks, and they are maintained as such. Like you think of Yosemite, you think of Glacier National Park, etc. But he argues that only a tiny fraction of these lands, and you can see the West is almost entirely red. It looks like my sunburn from Tuesday last week.
What's going on in Nevada?
Nevada, wow. This is stunning. 80.1% of the land in Nevada is federally owned and maintained. Utah, 63%, Idaho, 61.9%, Alaska, almost 61%. And then you get a little bit down into the 40s and 50s with Oregon, Wyoming, California, Arizona. So Jim Dalrymple, he shares a personal anecdote about his home in the Utah suburbs it borders on the Bureau of Land Management land, and that land cannot be developed, showing how restricted access prevents family-friendly housing. So Utah Governor Spencer Cox, in his election campaign, promised 35,000 new starter homes. We're not talking like 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartments here. We're talking about starter homes, quarter acre of land in family-friendly neighborhoods. On the generous side, Dalrymple does a quick calculation with larger lots accounting for streets, schools, etc. That would require about 20,000 acres of Utah land. And that sounds like a lot until you realize that the federal government manages 33.2 million acres in Utah. So using some of that federal land that is already adjacent to developed infrastructure would take about 0.06% of the federal land to build 35,000 family-friendly affordable units. So he makes the case that this would be a good way to use land that's underutilized, in some cases poorly managed. It's already near the infrastructure. It wouldn't touch on the preserved land, the preservation of land, but it would help to solve this problem of housing for people who want to build families. Josh has thoughts. Oh, how that?
All right, Josh. Okay, Josh is out on this.
Go for it.
Okay, so look, Nevada, up in Reno, you've got Lake Tahoe. Vegas has got access to, through the Hoover Dam, but 90%, 80% of that state is like, I've been there. It's dry, vast desert. It doesn't get water, and so like, how much resources would you do? And like Utah and that kind of stuff. So like, to me, I want to just help us understand this. Yes, there's a ton of land that's federal, but like, it's not like, hey, let's set up a community of 10,000 people and create a city. Like, how are you going to get them water? Like, it just doesn't, I don't think it's well thought of through plan. Like, to me, what we need to do is make it cheaper to build houses. There's been way too many regulations on this, and the costs have been driven up a lot. I agree with somebody in the chat. I mean, housing is unaffordable right now, but part of the problem is we've prolonged the selling off of homes by baby boomers because we had that artificially low rate a few years back. And so, like, why would they sell their house at to have it like a 1.5 point interest rate and get something at 6 or 7%. But they are going to be dying off. And the other thing is too, like, look at these other states, Iowa, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, not obviously Atlanta is very well populated, but there's a lot of these other states that have resources. They have water, and there's a lot of available land to build houses. So it's not like we don't have it's not that we don't have land upon which we could build homes. I live in northern Michigan. There's obviously a lot of state forests around and stuff like that, but there's still a lot of vacant properties. And I know somebody across the street who had a vacant land, but they couldn't afford to build a house. They said it would have cost like $1 million to build a house. Like, what? So they just they threw up their hands and they gave up on it. They'll just buy an existing house for $400,000. The cost of building a home right now is way too cost prohibitive. It's not a lack of land. What we need to lower the regulations that have been driving up these costs. I think that's the first thing. If I were JD Vance, I'd focus on that in a big heartbeat.
Why did you say it's cost prohibitive right now? You're saying that's only regulations? Is it materials? Is it
it's
labor?
everything. And labor is expensive right now, obviously. So
yeah.
But I mean, the cost of building a new home now it is disproportionately much higher than it was, even adjusted for inflation, than like 1980. It's just a lot higher.
Yeah, so I have two questions. The first would be, how do you feel about regulations about what kinds of housing can be built? Because we're looking at Salt Lake City here. For the example he brings up is that they've actually had a flurry of construction in the last few years on existing lots in the city, the more like population dense areas where, there's already the water issues solved.
Upper middle class homes that can get the permits and they can get built, but the starter homes don't, right? Yeah,
right,
I agree. I mean, Spencer Cox is a total rhino Republican governor, but like the fact that he's trying to, get starter homes built is a good thing.
Yes.
Because we've sort of we've done a lot of encroachment and minor municipal and local area regulations that prevent people from building starter homes. We need starter homes. We're cutting people. There's a lot of suburban voters who are upperly mobile, wealthy, and they're cutting off the people below them on the ladder. And that is uncool. So I agree. We need to have it, make it more available for people to build starter homes.
Yeah, 100%.
Why does the government own so much land federal government owns so much land in Nevada? Like you said, no one lives there. So why do they own it?
Yeah, I mean, like no one's claiming it, so they just use it. They build it, they have
Area 51.
Yeah, I mean, they have Air Force bases. They have plenty of land.
They have aliens.
Why not? They do all their testing stuff there. What is it? Like 65% of New Mexico's airspace is restricted. I mean,
Okay.
Crazy.
So aliens?
I think we need Tom in the wild in Nevada.
Dude, I'll go investigate.
I told you. I saw it on the plane. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I'll go check it out. I'll go see what's popping. We'll see if I make it back.
I've proposed Tom at Yale and I've proposed Tom in Nevada.
Yeah.
By the way, if you look at that map again, I mean, you can see like North and South Dakota, Nebraska, and Kansas, the western parts of those states, there's no one there.
Empty.
Hardly. I mean, there's no major city. You could travel from the Canadian border, in the western part of North Dakota, and go all the way down to the panhandle of Oklahoma, and there's no city that's like greater than 100,000 people or so. Just because it's like very arid, and you think that's tough. Like Nevada is worse. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about the people in Nevada. I'm just saying the climate wise, it's a desert.
Would anyone really defend the climate in Nevada as like this is sick?
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably not. Maybe. Hey, listen. Maybe we got some Nevada heads in the audience. I don't want to talk down interstate, but
yeah.
Do you want to hear what I read? Do you want to hear what I read for my vacation reading?
Sure.
I had a double hitter, and this was glorious. I read Hampton Sides, who's a great historian. He wrote Ghost Soldiers, you might have heard of, but he wrote another book called Blood and Thunder, which was the story of Kit Carson and the winning of the West. The best history of the Indian Wars that I have ever read. It was great. and it was like you couldn't put it down. So the story of Kit Carson, Hampton Sides, Blood and Thunder, and I did that alongside Death Comes for the Archbishop by Willa Cather, which is the story of Bishop Latour, the first bishop of Santa Fe, which went up through all of those, Colorado, Nevada. I mean, it was this vast territory. So I had the little historical fiction,
Nice.
1850s and 60s in the West, Kit Carson fiction. It was perfect. It was a perfect combo. And I thought of you often, Pogo. I was like, he would love this.
Yes.
Anyway.
Just some uplifting reads.
And no one wanted to live in Nevada then either.
Yeah, exactly.
So they put all the Indians there. It was terrible. They went to Oklahoma. But
Yeah, probably
right.
not ideal.
No,
and then they just
not
gave them
good.
casinos. It's like, all right, here you go. Not ideal. Have you read The Closing of the American Mind? That was the question when you were out.
I have not. I never read that.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Bloom.
Just ordered.
Should have done. Could still
Just
do.
ordered. I will keep you updated. It sounded like an Erika book. That's why.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
And then I'm reading a book about Peter Thiel right now. And
Ooh.
interesting cat. Interesting
Nice.
cat. Let's put it that way. Okay. Josh, Twilight Zone. You're up first.
I agree with Ben Domenech. A new key Death of the West statistic.
This is great.
42% of people in line to meet Buzz Lightyear at the Disney theme parks last year were childless adults.
No.
This is really great. And there's more to this, Josh. I don't know if you're going to say more, but yeah, someone did a podcast on it. And
yeah, it was the author AJ Wolf was on Puck's The Town podcast.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. No.
so some other stats. Disney park revenue up this year because of high spend Disney adults. Epcot recently opened an adults only section to cater to Disney adults. The income bracket most likely to plan Disney trip is between 50 and 75K. Least likely is 200K plus. ChatGPT, 40 to
embarrassing.
60% of visitors to Disney parks are child-free adults. That is
There's a lot of what's going on here.
Cider.
I mean, Disney has priced out a lot of middle-class families. I mean, we never went as a kid.
Yeah, we never. went.
And they show no
Never
interest in reversing course. In fact, the economics, again, profit motive, right? I mean, I'm not the biggest champion of the profit motive and everything, by the way. So they actually actively court, homosexual adults because they have a ton of disposable money. They drink a lot of alcohol. Like a family of, a mom and a dad with two kids, that they don't rack up nearly as much profit. So, I mean, I don't know. Wouldn't it be fun? And this never happened, but I'd love to have a new law saying that no adults are admitted to Disneyland unless they're accompanied by a child.
New
But
job.
then they're gonna
What
manufacture
name are you going to
themselves.
give the bill?
Right,
think on that
exactly. It's for kids, dummy. Act.
I was like, it's just so easy to dunk on Disney adults, but like, isn't this is kind of a function of capitalism in a way? You're just like, clearly, but at its base, it's more of a psychological problem of like, Disney adults are clearly hanging on to some type of nostalgia.
Oh my gosh,
And-
nostalgia. The curse of the millennials.
I mean, look, I like Star Trek, but I'm not going to go to pay money to fly to go to a convention and put on like a costume or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, Josh
get
in a
over
goofy
it.
hat.
Watch the show, enjoy it, and then get on with your life. There's other stuff to do.
There's
But when you have
something
6
here.
kids, you're not like, oh, let me go on a
No,
hobby
Josh,
adventure.
you're going to the hotel down the road for the pool.
Exactly.
That's what you do when you have 6 kids
Yep.
and want to go on vacation.
Yep. You have to have a pool.
Oh, yes.
That's all they need, actually.
And because Disney, to think about a Disney trip with a bunch of kids is a total nightmare, in my opinion. Like, if you had to fly, that's a nightmare. If you have to lodging and then the logistics of getting them through that park, nightmare. Like, in a lot of ways, it actually makes more sense to cater this towards adults. It's much more of an adult friendly experience. Which would you say has it lost the original intent of say?
I mean, again,
Walt
the original
Disney?
thing. I hate the whole thing to begin with. I
Yeah.
mean, like,
Yeah,
if
theme
it were
parks
raised
are
to the
like my
ground, I
idea of
would
hell.
smile.
Dante's
Oh,
fifth
man.
circle of the Inferno was actually
Like, to
a
me,
theme park. It was for real.
People in Michigan and Ohio go to what is it, Cedar?
Michigan Adventure.
Yeah, there's Michigan Convention, then there's Cedar.
Cedar Point.
Cedar
Yeah.
Point. Yeah, okay. And I grew up in Minnesota's Valley Fair or whatever. I mean, that to me is fine. I mean, it's in your area. You waste too much money, and the beer is expensive.
Yeah,
but
it's like
the
going
kids
to
are
the state
happy,
fair.
I guess. Whatever. But like, to me, to go, I'm going to travel across the country to Florida to walk around hot asphalt that's just like 118 degrees, 90,000% humidity. Like, no, that's a non-starter,
That's
bro.
a no, dog.
I did go to Disney World one time. I think I was in like 5th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did you love it?
my mom was mad at my dad because there were these pins that you like trade with people. Any of the Disney heads in the chat, you get these pins and then you trade them with like park workers or something or other people there to get better pins. And the economy of the pins was more fascinating to my father than just about anything there. So he was really obsessively locked in on these pins, and it was making my mom mad because my mom is very German and likes to keep on schedule. And so that was what I remember most from this trip was the pins.
Oh my
And we did come
gosh.
home with some
And the
sweet
schedule.
pins. And the schedule, yeah. So it was cool. It was chill.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
that's
wouldn't go back, but it was chill.
I discovered that the only thing you really need on vacation is like a tide. So we got to stay in this house that was way up in Podunk, Nowheresville. So it was pretty cheap and it was big. The kids could just knock around in it. And it was the first time I'd ever stayed like on waterfront that had a tide coming in and out every few hours. And the little kids were just obsessed because it was something new would wash up every few hours. And there were the seagulls and the drama of the crab. And like, it was
Not much of a tide in the.
I didn't have to do any
in
entertaining.
Long
It was
Island
great.
Sound, you tell me.
That's right. Yeah. No.
Yeah, that was in Lake Michigan.
Yeah, not a lot of tides
The
there.
tide in Lake Michigan was insane. Like we would actually get some really big waves. And I remember also going there as a child, and there was they had like it was like a stoplight for whether it was safe to swim. It'd be like green's good, yellow kind of sketchy, maybe not have like young kids in there, and then red was like absolutely don't do it. And for some reason it was on yellow, but waves as big as I was. Like it was intense. And the funny thing was I don't even know if we just didn't see it or whatever. Like this is the greatest thing ever. We hopped in there, getting battered by these waves. It was insane. And then the next day we went back and it was green. There was no waves. And we were, I want to say like one of my brothers cried because we liked the waves so much, even though it's probably dangerous and we shouldn't have done it, that it was lame now because Lake Michigan was calm. And I remember that being an emotional processing moment for one of my siblings. We were all kind of disappointed. Yeah, exactly. Right. Welcome to real life. Speaking of welcome to real life, Erika.
Yeah, welcome to real life indeed. There's been another divorce. I mean, I left and I come back and I'm like, oh, ABC is canceling The View. I can't believe it. And then I see that MSNBC and NBC are getting a divorce. And MSNBC will have a new name that they worked hours on, I'm sure, and did not workshop enough. It is MS Now, News Opinion World. And
they paid some consultant like $300,000
millions
to come up with this.
No. And so like the first thing I thought was multiple sclerosis. Now I thought I was calling for this. And then I was like, Ms. Now. And it just looks like something that they put together on Canva. I think that's like a Times New Roman font for the subtitles. But yeah, we're going to have a spinoff of NBC Universal Cable. It's going to have scoops and news for you. And I don't really know what to make of this.
So my first observation, MS-13 has a streaming service now. Everyone's trying to get in the game.
That's right.
And then, Disney Plus, everyone's got to
Would it
get
be funny if
in.
that was Channel 13? Yeah, MS.
That would be great.
Seriously, I was like, MS Now, new gang dropped. We got the new games
It's just
streaming
so
service.
ugly. I'm like, I feel like I'm back in 1989.
Someone in the chat Emily thinks that the logo's ugly. I just think it's the bigger crime. It's boring.
It's boring.
And it does. Yes, it feels like
It
CNN Plus. I mean, like MSNBC, their business model was we're psychopaths when it comes to being hardcore lefties. And now it's MS Now.
MS Now.
Breaking news. What?
Oh,
Josh, not
my
impressed.
goodness. Oh my
So
God.
you won't be tuning in, Josh?
If I ever have insomnia.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the hosts all shake up and around.
Josh ever has a hard time falling asleep. MS Now. Okay, mine. Back to Ross comes up
Make
again.
you
So
sleepy now.
Yeah.
So we talked about it a little bit before, but Orchid, the next parenting trend starts before conception. For as little as $2,500, you can choose your future baby, should you? And this lady is making the case. So this is Noor Siddiqui. What if your baby never walks? What if they're never able to live independently? What if you could have stopped it but chose not to? That's the question. At Orchid's Embryo Screening Forces, you optimize everything. Career, diet, skincare, but you're going to chance it on your child's genome, one of the most significant determinants of their health.
And just to be clear, can I translate this? What if your baby never walks? What if you could have stopped it by killing the baby before they were even born? Like, that's what that is.
Sigh.
This isn't healing children. This isn't healing multiple sclerosis. It's not. This is just, we see which kids have what on their genome and we kill them. That's what that is. So like, stop it. This was actually the last interview. I watched the whole thing. The last thing I did before I went on vacation. And boy, did I need a vacation after this. This was
well, I don't know if you picked this out. Steve
good.
McGinnis on Twitter picked out one of the most important parts in my
McGuire,
opinion.
Steve McGuire, fellow
sorry.
CUA grad.
Oh,
Yep.
cool. I didn't know he went
In the
CUA.
house. Yeah.
Nice, dude. Shout out to Steve McGuire. I picked out maybe the best part. I'll just play it here.
You are excited about a world in which lots and lots more babies than is the case right now are born from laboratory fertilization. And I'm just curious if you think, allowing that this might be desirable in certain cases, if a world where this became the norm would be losing something that is very fundamental to human beings and human families and human relationships. And that's the relationship between sex and procreation, between you and your husband having sex, apologies, and the future generations that come into being. And I'm going to take the podcaster's privilege, and I apologize for this, but I'm going to read you a piece of a poem. It's by a poet named Galway Kinnell, and the poem is called After Making Love, We Hear Footsteps. And the idea is sort of contained in the title, that the husband and wife make love, and it wakes up their child, and the child comes and gets in bed with them. And Kinnell writes, in the half-darkness we look at each other and smile and touch arms across this little startlingly muscled body, this one whom habit of memory propels to the ground of his making. Sleeper only the mortal sounds can sing awake. This blessing love gives again into our arms. Sorry. Do you worry about removing or diminishing from human experience that aspect of being a husband and a wife in a relationship with a child?
What do you mean?
Oh. What do you mean?
And sure, loaded
It's really
question.
foreign.
Sure, loaded question. She does come around to answer it. I was very unimpressed with her answer. I think Ross got to the heart of it here. And then of course you get like Claire Lehman on Twitter is like one of the most annoying people ever. She was talking about how it would be great to eradicate Down syndrome. And she's like, why do people champion a disease, basically? Like why do I've never heard anyone like talk up like a disease like they talk up Down syndrome. And of course she just got lambasted on Twitter, as she should have. And like someone brought up a good point, like the Orchid stuff, the Claire Lehman stuff, like it's almost like, yes, you can keep trying to put forth a positive vision, but there's just people that are going to have fundamentally opposed worldview to that of the sanctity of life. And those people maybe can't be convinced, but they just need to be stopped. Like there's, you can't work with people that would want to eradicate human beings or the possibility of human beings. I mean, how many people replied to this tweet or this thing saying, I had X genetic disorder. I had this rare genetic disorder. They said that I was this before I was born. Here I am today. Is like, I mean, how many more people you got to hear before like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be messing with life like this.
At the heart of the sexual revolution is the divorce, at least the desire to divorce sex from procreation. So like him bringing that question up to her, like, aren't you worried about that? It's like, it doesn't even occur to her that those things are obviously linked, because the practice for so many people in our country and in the West is to have sexual activity in a way that it's fun and it affirms your ego and your partner and you're having fun. And then you later decide we're going to actually try to have children if we want to. So we've adopted, this is one of the things that, Catholic circles talk about a lot. There's a lot of people, 95% of the country has adopted a contraceptive mindset. And so, yeah, you have that in your brain, then, your body, you're going to try to manipulate to further that goal.
Mm-hmm.
Weird connection here too, but this other guy, OW Root, has a great account on X. I'm going to try to connect these, but he was talking about why people brag about living in New York City in terrible circumstances. Small apartment, messy, nasty, but like there's something about it that is still appealing, right? Like the New York.
I made it.
He made an interesting point is that whenever people make fun of that, they're kind of missing the point. People like mess. People like color. Humanity is drawn to mess and color in their lives. And the strangest trend is this kind of like 30-year-old-ish dinks that live in like totally clean, totally modern, totally devoid of any
always Pinterest
character.
Ready.
Yeah, exactly right. Like that's
sanitized.
That's actually scarier and a bit strange and unusual. Like that is against the typical human psychology. And that's the same reason why people love their children and love family life. And there's something fulfilling and positive, even if you look on the outside and it's messy or kids are crying or whatever. It's like, that's actually the point.
There's a little serendipity. There's a little bit of like you never know what's going to happen next.
A little chaos.
And that's why people love New York City.
Right?
And that's why people love having kids. That is human. That's so the sterility of this conversation about having designer children or living in this kind of like devoid, whitewashed home with no character. It's the same thing. Why people like to thrift vintage clothing or find vintage frames to put their pictures in, or like wallpapers kind of coming back, like even with like home design, like people are they're trying to add color back. They're trying to add something like there's
there's so much stuff that's drab. Like everyone likes to go see antique cars. Like I was at a festival in Minnesota and like they have the car show and all the cars are old. I'm 48. They're all 70-year-old cars. They're all 60-year-old cars because what car came out in like the 90s that was like, ooh, nothing.
They're all the same.
There hasn't been any good cars, in 30 years or 40 years.
Yeah, beautiful little detailing. Same with boat shows, right?
They're all
like
utility.
The boat shows
all
are
utilitarian.
all old.
Look at what's happened to logos. MS now, but like every logo has like all of their color, all of their flavor, it's all black and white.
Now. Yeah.
I'm a little minimalist is kind of interesting. The first 5 times I see it, and then all 10,000 logos switched over to it. I'm like, come on. Like Eddie Bauer had a unique signature. It looked like it probably was Eddie Bauer's actual signature. Maybe it was or wasn't, but it looked nice. And then now it's just like, it looks
Eddie
like a
Bauer.
bank logo.
I wonder what are the theories on that? Like, was everyone using the same like 3 consultants that were in vogue or whatever, and they're like, oh no, this is the play, and then you just copy each other until basically you have
there's
nothing.
A lot of
like,
that.
A lot of this stuff is copy. I mean, this is I admit I saw it from one of these guys on social media influencer or whatever put out this thing, but he goes there's this video. I think I mentioned this once before of people they videotaped from like Boston in 2004, and he goes, I mean, look at the way they're dressed and the hair and all that kind of stuff. It looks like this could have been filmed yesterday.
Yeah. The stagnation, big part of it.
So there just hasn't been, and so in one sense, like my kids, they're going thrift shopping and they're buying this stuff. And our first impulse for my wife and I were like, oh my gosh, that looks like so terrible. It's like 1989, but they love it. And I'm like, because it's different and it's new. Right. And we're having to overcome this impulse to talk crap about it, because for us, like, we remember when those were out of fashion.
Yes.
And now it looks so much different and unique. It's like, you know what? That's okay. You look like Melanie Griffith and Working Girl. Go for it, girl. Like, whatever. I mean, it's fine. But it is interesting, and at least it's creative. And so we're kind of overcoming this. Like, we need some difference in this push to the middle, and everything's got to be the same and drone on. It's come on, a little.
Yeah, and I think
excitement in life.
The tie back to the fertility issue, and like this woman comes out of Silicon Valley. There's a lot of dark stuff coming out of Silicon Valley. And we were talking about the chat.
Peter Thiel. There's a lot.
And the Peter Thiel. I mean, Ross is like hitting up Silicon Valley this year. And it is, listening to all of them, they all have this conviction that through sterile and control and technology, we're going to usher in a utopia. We're going to usher in a world where there's no suffering, where every need is met. There's no loneliness because we all have AI companions. I mean, this is a real world. They are a real aristocracy. And Ross is fond of saying, if you thought the Christian right was scary, wait till you meet the post-Christian right. And that's when I see this interview with Noor and the Peter Thiel, you're like, yeah, this is going to be chilling. The idea that there is a heaven, but it has nothing to do with God because there is no God. It's what we're going to create. And it's going to be ugly and sterile and the same. So let's have more babies. Let's just have more sex and more babies.
Yeah.
With
that
our
sounds good to me.
husbands and wives,
more creativity.
More creativity,
As
messy,
Emily Wall
chaos.
pointed out, the Best Buy logo looks very familiar. Do you see this, Tom?
But I think that goes, and that goes to my theory that I think they're just using the same consultants across everything. And then my other thought, I know we're going way over, but the gang's back together. We got a lot of energy. Groupthink for sure, but I think groupthink was big time accelerated by the internet. All of these brands that came out their original logos, that was actually, I imagine, it's hard for me to imagine, it was a time before the internet. So there was more like incubators, local incubators for creativity that wouldn't have been influenced in the same way by at least visually seeing something the way you see on the internet. So yeah, but I wonder now, like, okay, so we're at this place and everyone kind of realizes things are like kind of fake and, or like all the same, too much sameness. And now that we're all on the same page of wanting that sameness, people are intentionally making the choice to disconnect themselves from the matrix to actually try to achieve true creativity again. Or, there's people jumping on an AI, but I would just say like the general feeling I'm getting with AI now, which I oscillate a lot. And I'm using that word twice today. I don't know why, but,
great word.
There's time where like, this is going to take over the world. We're going to get robot plumbers. And now I'm like, ChatGPT 5 was kind of a flop and nothing like revolutionary, new, or interesting has come out of it. Like you just see a lot of slop now. So you're like, it's pushing me back towards originality, creativity, disconnection, especially this AI chatbot conversation. So we'll see where I land on all that. Anyway, great show, guys. Really fun being back with the gang. Josh has got some fun travel plans. We're not going to talk about that, but you might get
all be
LOOPcast
back
Lite.
together for
But yeah, you'll get next Monday. Mark your calendars. We're going to be live from the same location, secret location. So we're going to get to hear from the new president of Catholic Vote, Kelsey Reinhardt. So that's going to be awesome. But if you want to help us out, I saw someone did add in a review after I read the other review on Apple Podcasts. So if you want to add in more, I always appreciate those, especially if you haven't. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, subscribe on YouTube. We got new episodes of The Deep coming up here. We're working on really making that great. Go check it out. The latest one, I think is Why Male Friendship Disappeared Now. We're trying to cut a couple different titles, a couple different thumbnails.
Couple titles, yeah.
One of my favorites. So go check that one out.
It was one of my favorites to write. That was a lot of fun. That was, yeah.
I out loud said 3 times watching the draft, like, this is so good.
Yeah.
This is
awesome.
So good. And someone reached out who we were inspired by and liked it too. So that's good. But join the Champions Club. Best way to support us, catholicvote.org/champions. Keeps us going. And then pray for us. We'll pray with you today. Today is the Come Holy Spirit prayer. So in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Come Holy Spirit, fill the hearts of your faithful and kindle in them the fire of your love. Send forth your Spirit and they shall be created, and you shall renew the face of the earth. O God, who by the light of the Holy Spirit did instruct the hearts of the faithful, grant that by the same Holy Spirit we may be truly wise and ever enjoy his consolations. Through Christ our Lord. Amen. St. Thomas More, St. Fidelis, Our Lady of Guadalupe. Pray for us.
Pray for
in the
us.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit.